Hello everybody, what is up? Prof here. As you can see today, we are going to be doing a review on Sandland on the PlayStation 5. Now I haven't really done many video game reviews, so bear with me on this one and I will try my best. So how I'm going to break down this review is we're going to be going through all the good aspects I enjoyed about the game, as well as looking at a few of the bad aspects, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it a score out of 10. So let's go ahead and get on to it. Alright, so starting off with a few of the good aspects. So one thing I gotta comment on is the great graphics and the performance of this game. So graphics wise, I was really surprised because they're pretty well polished and everything. And basically even the performance, it ran at a steady 60 FPS. I didn't really run into any instances where it was slow or it glitched out or it had some sort of bug in the game. And usually with kind of Bandai Namco games, they're kind of hit and miss, especially when it comes to anime adaptations lately. But I'm definitely glad they did Akira Toriyama justice and did a really great job, especially with how good this game looks. Next, we're going to move on to the combat. The combat was really fun. Basically, you had a combination of using different vehicles you get to build and unlock, and you also had your physical combat, which you can upgrade skills. You had skill trees on both Beelzebub and his teammates and everything. The next aspect is going to be the vehicle customization. That was pretty cool because you can kind of really customize how your vehicle is going to perform. You can craft parts, you can mix and match and everything, and basically really kind of fight how you want to. Though I will admit though, most of the time my go-to was the tank, as well as I think the hovercraft and the whole mech suit. So those are probably my three, but the tank was usually my main go-to when it came to boss battles. So my next good aspect of this game is going to be story. So for story, I actually have read the manga, and then I've watched the anime, and then now of course I played the game. The manga ended kind of quickly. The anime actually expanded. We got the whole section where we get to see Forest Land, which is not in the manga at all. And they also basically ramped up one of the battles at the very end. So going into this game, I was honestly expecting that this was just going to be more or less a retelling of the anime. And then when actually playing through it, I started noticing oh wait, there's a few differences here. And then as I got into later in the game, there's actually whole new different characters. Yeah, basically they added new generals or characters into the Forest Land army that were not in the anime. They added whole different battles that actually happen in the game and everything, which is really cool because there's one part where it's literally kind of a full-scale little war with all the tanks between the two different nations and everything, and I was actually surprised oh, this is actually a cool story element they've added into it. So even though basically the game does essentially finish where the same way the anime does for the most part, with a few little slight differences, but basically, if you are a fan of the anime and then kind of worried about, oh, am I just going to be playing through what I just watched, is no, they actually did a decent amount to change it up, so you're not just redoing the same anime aspects and everything. But like I said, it was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed the story they added and changed, and honestly, it was pretty fun, especially getting to kind of go through all the whole battle at the end and everything. So I gotta say, it was definitely very surprising, and I'm definitely glad that this wasn't just a half-baked game and they actually took time and, made this a pretty cool game. And as for gameplay, I want to say this game will take you a good at least 20 hours or so, and that's only if you're really just focusing on just the main story, because you do gotta spend time kind of leveling up, upgrading and customizing your vehicles, and of course you can level up your vehicles as well. But there's also a lot of side content. There's a lot of stuff you can do for side missions in terms of people for town, villages you find out in the desert, and everything. So there's definitely not lack of stuff to do in this game on top of the actual main story. So I was definitely pretty impressed and everything. But yeah, so those are all my good aspects. Surprisingly, the bad aspects wasn't a very large amount, but there were some that did slightly bug me. So basically, I kind of wish there was more of an autoplay for the dialogue scenes, because it kind of pretty much you had to literally be there hitting either the circle or the X button. But the regular cutscenes, yeah, they would auto advance the dialogue. But when it came to dialogue cutscenes where they're talking, you essentially had to basically make sure you press it to keep it going along, or otherwise you had to wait 15 seconds for it to actually switch to the next dialogue. So that was kind of one aspect that I was alright, it'd be kind of cool if we could, It would have probably made the game a little bit better if they could have added, you know, some sort of auto feature if you didn't want to have to basically keep pressing the button every time you want the dialogue scene to continue. But other than that, it was still pretty good. Voice acting was pretty well. But yeah, so another aspect I would say is the music in the game. Like, some of the music was pretty good. It wasn't like horrible and stuff, but there are times when like I kind of felt like I was like, all right, this kind of feels a little on the boring side. But I mean, some of the boss missions, especially towards the end, it actually had some pretty cool music. So I will give it points there. But there's some points where you're just kind of, you know, driving through the desert or you're going through a cave where I kind of felt like, all right, I kind of feel like we need a little bit more, you know, more entertaining music. But other than that, yeah, it was all right. And then it's not, I don't know, it's kind of a gripe, but I guess not really, because I guess how they wanted to do the game was they had random missions where Beelzebub had to essentially sneak into a base and you couldn't get caught or else it'll kind of reset you. You essentially had to sneak up behind the guards and just like kind of scare them, which I was like, okay, weird, but I also feel like Beelzebub wouldn't really just want to go up and like, oh, I'm gonna scare you so you pass out from fear. So yeah, that was kind of some of the negative aspects of it. And I mean, I kind of get why they do it, because they kind of, you know, want to add a little extra gameplay element to it. But for me, it was kind of weird to see Beelzebub's like, oh, I gotta sneak around these guys and scare them, so that way I go around. But yeah, it was kind of negative, but like I said, also slightly not negative. But yeah, so I mean, that's basically all my negatives I had to get about the game. As you see, I had a lot more things I liked than I disliked, so definitely pretty impressive. And like I said, this was one of those games that I was definitely a little bit nervous at first going into it, because I knew it was like a Bandai Namco anime tie-in, so I was kind of like worried, like, oh, is this going to be kind of so-so? Should I have waited for this to be on sale? But honestly, after beating the game, I was pretty pleasantly surprised. Yeah, so I gotta say, out of basically a score 1 out of 10, I'm gonna go ahead and give this an 8. 8 mainly being because I am also like a fan of the anime and everything, so I honestly enjoyed the story a lot. It was definitely a fun adventure, and it was also a cool adventure, basically getting to go with Beelzebub and friends, basically exploring Sandland, exploring Forestland, and honestly getting to go through some of the major battles and everything. Like I said, if you're a fan of the series, or if you just like the art style of Akira Toriyama, I would definitely recommend picking this game up for sure. It's available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. Pretty sure this is not on Switch, because I don't think the Switch will necessarily handle this game well. But yeah, all in all, I definitely say it's pretty cool, and as a fan of the series, I was definitely pleasantly surprised and definitely had a fun time. So if you guys did like this review, go ahead and leave a like on this video. If you are new here to the channel and want to see maybe more reviews, comment below, and also consider subscribing. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later.